Welcome to Luthiers and Legacy Show, a podcast created especially for fine violin makers and luthiers obsessed with creating top quality instruments for their musicians. My name is Badiarov. I'm a violin maker, former professional musician turned award-winning speaker, business coach and mentor. I'm best known for the revival of the ancient masters' acoustic concepts and the rebirth of the violoncello da spalla. And today I am passionate about helping open-minded instrument makers to create instrument-making businesses they will love and keep the ancient masters' acoustic concepts alive. Regardless whether you have been in the profession for decades or you're just starting out, it is time for you to shake things up. It is time to make an even bigger difference, and it is time to start creating a legacy at bench. So without further ado, let's crack on, let's get started with today's show. Dear friends, today our very special guest is Zeljko Haliti. Zeliko is a luthier-acoustician and an expert at setting up instruments of the violin family for maximum acoustic response. He served a large number of famous soloists. Just to name a few, Zeliko worked with the three Stradivari violins of Frank Peter Zimmermann, Tesoro viola of Yuri Bashmet, Viktor Tretyakov's Guadagnini, Maxim Vengerov Stradivari, Leonidas Kavakos Stradivari, Vadim Repin's Guarneri, Yanin Jansen's Stradivari, and Christophe Coin's Galliano cello, among countless other celebrated musicians and their instruments. And besides this, Zeliko speaks at conferences where he teaches the art of a luthier-acoustician, and he was also starring at a documentary produced on Arte TV. So, friends, please open your ears and minds to Zeliko's message. Warm welcome. Zeliko, it's really a pleasure having you with us on Luthiers and Legacy podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Zeliko, where did your passion for acoustic setup begin?
It was many years ago. I was like maybe 15, 16. When I was listening my father practicing and also taking care about the instruments from his orchestra. And I discovered that my ears were starting to react to this, what was going on. And I was analyzing the not just the tone, the frequencies, the way what he was doing and how he was getting the results. And if he was not happy, what he was trying to achieve with his own setups, he was for me an amazing example of what really means the sound to the musician. And then I start my own investigation, and I said, well, this is something that really invites me for amazing journey. And that I actually has this in my body, in my mind, and I really wanted to investigate and see why I when I'm happy, why I'm happy, and if I'm not happy, what is the reason, what I'm missing. So of course that was the beginning from my factory violin as a child, but afterwards. When I continued to study in Zagreb, and I said, well, that was the moment when I saw that practicing for the concerts and recitals was more, let's say, important at that moment. My brain didn't think about the sound. It was oriented to the practicing and playing and if I had some problem, then I thought, okay, I will talk with my father when I come back and he will fix it, and that's it. But afterwards, that was in France, when I was playing in few orchestras during actually the war, when it was in Yugoslavia. Mm. That was the moment when I saw that my brain started to give me the signals again. You know, I was with Mr. Lefebvre in Avignon, and he just was so I'm so grateful to him, not just helping me, giving me his own violin, but also, I was enjoying to be there, in his atelier and looking him and listen, and it was like my own family. And in the moment when I saw this, I said, "Oh, this kind of the essence of my soul start to work again." Yeah, and I saw that impulse was inside, and I really wanted to explore it again, and go really in. And then I start really seriously think about the woods and the instruments. Of course, I didn't have any kind of luck to even come close to the important instruments. And then everything opened actually here in Spain during the orchestra work. I was trying to help my colleagues, and then of course you get a confidence, and you see that you are actually able to do some good results. And it was most by impetus. Insight was saying to me what I need to do, because the real knowledge it was starting to build afterwards. Yeah, and then one day my first case was actually meeting with Frank Zimmerman. Okay. He came here to play with us Beethoven concerto after big tourney in America. I think that was like fifth or sixth time that his violin was suddenly opened. It was opened by where is the chin rest, and I hear the noise. Yeah. And during the tutti plays, he was searching and looking what's going on. And in the pause, I just came and said, "Maestro, I think there is some problem in your violin. I think it's open." "Yeah, I hear it also. Do you know someone who can help me?" And I was crazy enough to say, "Well, if you wish, I can help you." And then, I saw why this happened, because not only the sweat and change the temperature, humidity, it was because the sound post was too high and it was pressing the table. And of course, the violin was searching how to relax again. And then I made my break, and he came back here, exactly where I am now. And he started to practice, and no comment, no one comment. I was like, "Oh my God." Because the way how he explained afterwards, he said, "Listen, the moment when you took all strings off and bridge and sound post and chin rest and tailpiece and everything was gone, I thought, this man, oh, it's crazy. Oh, he really knows what he's doing." I was like excited to see such a person in front of me and not be afraid at all. It was much stronger desire to help him than to think about responsibility, to think about the risk you take when you touch such an instrument. No, and that was an amazing moment. When he started and he started to try, he was trying some Bach, then some Isaïe, then whatever pieces he was preparing and playing at that moment. And then he turned and he said, "You know what? My violin never sounds like this."
Wow!
And then that was the biggest prize I could receive to see his satisfaction.
Wow.
And that was following by Julie Rachlin. He was also playing here, and then my journey starts, because I made a big friendship with him from the second zero. it was immediately we felt each other so well, and I made also good work for him and his violin and viola. And he said, "You know what? You really need to go with me, and I would like to present you to some people that you should know." And he brought me to Verbier festival. First, we went to Vienna, and he planned what will be the best way to introduce me, in all this, because it's like it's a dream. The dream becomes true, and it was amazing feeling that
Wow.
these people really accepted me so warmly. I was really touched.
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. I feel there is almost like a life lesson from that very moment of your feeling that this is the right thing to do. No fear, no hesitation. Yes, with all this acknowledgement, this is a very important instrument and a very important musician. Yeah, and you felt somewhat daring. It's a daring step, but you did it, and you made magic happen. And this is just really inspiring to lots of listeners and viewers on this podcast and other platforms. Just because this is applicable to not just instrument making, but it is applicable. This attitude to life is applicable in any area of life. I find, which is why I find this story so fascinating. Zeljko, you are a very fine violinist as well, and you are an acoustician. So you are juggling these two very consuming and very different art forms, so to speak. Have you ever been in a place in your life where you were wondering how do you combine all these? Where do you have to choose one or another? Like music or servicing instruments?
Well, it was like a difficult moment, to decide where and which way I should go, which way I should take, because until I was in orchestra and I had my chamber groups and amazing friends that I shared the music and shared the emotions, and you were understanding what is your purpose, But then I saw that this click when happened in Vienna and with Yuli and with Trumpeter, I discovered actually that my wish to help is much bigger than to play my own, and I recognized that actually passion for the sound and passion to see these instruments, because until you don't feel it, the wood, and you don't see the varnish, and you don't feel the structure, and you don't connect with, it's really a question of connection, not only with the instrument, with the person. And that makes click in my mind. I understood that.
Absolutely.
The feeling of course, you are satisfied after great concert you made, and number 1, number 2, number 1,000, number 2,000. It was so many years I was playing also Baroque music with Giardino Armonico and Ensemble Matteus, and these people were always fascinating me, and actually I discovered so many ways of how to keep the bow. Well, for me, it was the first time to see what is different phrasing, and it was completely another world, another universe, and of course you are keeping in this direction until you arrive to quantum space. And you see that actually you are not born only for one thing. That you can, if you see all these possibilities, same like in the structure of the instrument, that actually helped me a lot to understand that there is no rules and there is no one way. to approach to the person, or to approach to the instrument, or to approach to the life. And that liberates me completely in every way. To understand how many things you don't understand, and that you agree with that you're not scared of it. Mm-hmm. That's why I felt so important to see all these people. And I decided in 2009 or 10 to actually say, I didn't say goodbye to my violin, of course not, because without the sound I can't live. It's like a food. It's like the elixir for the life. It's absolutely not possible. I tried sometimes, especially when I was sick a little bit, and you see that okay, a few days okay, but afterwards you're really missing the physical contact and vibration and emotion and all this. So that was the moment when I said, okay, sorry to say goodbye, but I really need, I feel I need to be with them, and they really showed me that they respect what I do, and that, of course, the moment where is the limit, like in many occasions, like with Mr. Bashmet, especially after, in that time when this happened with Mr. Bashmet and a big explosion of the viola, that was the moment when I didn't have a good internet like today, and they actually sent me the video by this old modem, 56, and they explain me what's happened. And actually, after a few hours, I received the message: I need to go to Milan as soon as possible. That's kind of stories you see. That when people trust you, when people really give you the best of them, which is the instrument. It's very delicate. You understand this very good.
Yeah, I understand, and I have a question around this. But please go ahead, carry on.
Yeah. The fact that when they look at you, they become calm immediately, which for me it's already the moment of transportation to another dimension.
Exactly the word I had in my mind, and then you just said it. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's not possible to do it in another way.
It's because
if you try to simplify, you do this, you analyze this, with all my respect to all traditional waves.
Sure.
Of course, I use this to have orientation. Yeah. But you need to connect with the person, with
precisely,
with the energy, and automatically with the energy that is inside of the instrument. This inner sound, I call this inner soul. Yeah. It, of course, to cut the sound post, everybody knows. To cut the bridge, everybody knows. Yeah. But what is the most important is to connect with the nucleus of the instrument, the nucleus of the person. When this is connected, because in many moments, why is this disconnected? It's not a question that, you can't say something doesn't sound because Frampete, it's not good violinist. Excuse me. So you are obliged to understand the how really violin works. Yeah. And how to get this unification between the instrument and the player.
That is such a deep conversation, and you have mentioned so many times during this interview about the importance of connection with the instrument that you are servicing, but also with the player. And it just brings instantly me back to this workshop, to this work where I create instruments, because as you're sharing this, I'm thinking, That resonates 100% with me, because when a musician approaches me, we start speaking about the sound, and very frequently we speak about warm sound, silvery sound, projection sound, dark sound, or some kind of desperate attempt to describe sound. It's very difficult to describe sound. And I discovered that for every person I talk to, every musician I talk to, the same description can mean different things. Like, I like warm sound. What is it, warm sound for you? Why do you want warm sound? What is missing the now in your sound? What is it that you want to get through that warm sound? And then as we go deeper and deeper and deeper, we discover amazing things of what actually that unique individual musician wants to achieve. And that is a beautiful journey. Sometimes I get even people crying here because they realize that there are things that they have never expressed before, things that they deeply want to achieve as musicians. And
because you touch their soul.
You touch their soul. Yeah, as you said. As you said at one certain place, when a certain spot, you said musicians just get silent because they are transposed or transported, because there is this change of state in their soul, in their mind, that you know that, okay, you have touched something deep. And from there on, you can start speaking about, okay, how do we approach instrument making and acoustical setup in your case? Because yes, I 100% agree. There are so many ways to approach instrument making, or for you, acoustical setup, because there are lots of things we don't know and lots of things we do know, and there's always a lot of magic. Okay, so my next question is, what is your favorite process for getting maximum response from those instruments? If there is like a proven formula, or is it every time something completely different? So is there a process that you really like and you know that this is a proven process?
Yes. Of course, like everyone, first you analyze the instrument, you see the construction, the wood, the state. First, to analyze where is the problem. Yeah, to see if the musician is protesting about something, and if it's this, let's say, I usually really want to believe what they are saying, because there are some people who are exaggerating in positive or negative way. So I don't want to have my opinion. I want to have opinion together. That we agree really, and that I can feel why they are saying and what is really going on in the instrument. And then to analyze what is really necessary to do it. Because if I see that the bridge, old bridge in good state, good shape, just to change it because I consider that this is the reason. No, always I'm trying to go really deeper, and to not move that much, and to see if it's just momentaneous changement in the state of the sound, because of course this happened. We are not machines. Instruments are not machines. So the influence of the climate changement, it's also doing the effect. So I'm not for speed work. First of all, I really take time to know the person and to know the instrument, and peacefully to understand how to achieve. First of all, to see if it's possible, because just to research and search and do this and do that, maybe this instrument is just not the right instrument for that person. So I always give open space, the horizon 360, no limits, and give every instrument chance to breathe freely. That's what makes me actually, the feeling of when you feel that instrument, it's a ringing, and that gives you, this feeling of when you're
goosebumps.
Just up. I said, that's it. Don't touch it.
Exactly. Before you mentioned, was it Frank Peter? Yeah, it was Frank Peter who returned to your studio, and he started playing, and he was speechless. No, it was Frank Peter.
Yes.
Yeah. That actually reminded me a very similar story with one of my customers, a very beautiful and very petite, elegant lady. And she was looking for a violin her life, and she was not kind of finding because she's small. Any normal size violin is just too big. And so I designed for her a small size violin, really small, that looks big and sounds big. And so when she came here to this workshop, I left her alone to play her violin. I went to the kitchen to prepare some coffee or tea. And then when I returned, and the sounds of the violin pouring from this room, she was playing, and she was obviously carried away. So when I entered, she didn't really notice that I entered, and I see she's playing, she's completely transported, and the tear running down her cheek. And I thought, oh my God, she doesn't like it. I screwed it up. I made something wrong. Oh no. And then I asked, well, Laura, are you okay? And she said, Dimitri, it's the first time in my life I'm playing the violin without pain. And I thought, okay, then it was something done right. Yeah. When musician goes silent or when the tear is running, then we know we did something right, no, as instrument makers.
I love it.
Zeliko, what is your opinion on the situation in the industry, let's say in the industry of violin making or instrument making today? What is the situation in your opinion? What brings the joy, and what would you like to see different?
The moment when I realized how people are trying to judge everything, they always. That's why I like this blind tests, because not because you are presenting different instruments and people don't know. They just need to listen. They need to open the antennas and receive the energy and vibration, and without any presume and think, this is this. It's another story if you are able to recognize the what they call modern sound and old sound. Yeah. Well, it's not easy to say. Are you able to recognize old sound? Of course, you are able if you hear it, and if you have it here. When you hear the strut in good state, you recognize the frequency. Not because somebody teach you what means this sound. It's because you had an amazing chance to hear it and to feel it and to receive it and to record it. And afterwards, because all struts I saw of Guarneri's are totally different.
Yeah.
So that means that the difference in not only in size, in wood, in varnish, in structure, in whatever you can change to arrive to the point. I think that each violin is, or in that time in 70s or 16s and afterwards, they are mirror of your soul in that moment. It's exactly like a composer, when you write something in that moment, it's just reflecting. You are not planning to do. It's when you plan to do something, of course you can arrive because you have knowledge, you have experience, you know what is good, what is bad, what you should do, what you should not. But this final touch, when you recognize Dmitry Badiarov violin, it's because I feel your soul. I feel you. I'm not just listening simply G string, D string, A string, E string, or that note, this note. I mean, we are not here. Of course, it's good to analyze, to have a bigger picture, bigger spectrum of how far in a big whole this violin makes results or another. So, to talk about if there is another genius, it's question of how someone is presented by. So some people, some group decide this man is the best this year. Excuse me. In competitions, sometimes it's not easy. That's why I don't like competitions. I like freedom. I like to analyze and listen without any obligations to say opinion. If I touch your violin and I feel the connection, excuse me, you are the one. So that's why all this big competition of in running who and how, if you do something fast, you can't do it good enough, because you don't have the time to connect. If someone come to you and say, listen, Dmitry, could you please make a violin for me in next 3 weeks or 4 weeks? Yeah, technically, of course you are able to do it. But same like when you spoke about, I appreciate so much your video that I saw when you talk about the golden red here. And I was really studying very profoundly about this. That's exactly what people try to do, to simplify things and to try to put in the box to understand which button they need to push and to have results. When you do your instruments, I'm sure you're not pushing the buttons. You are connected with. That's why your instrument sounds like.
When I'm creating instruments,
you see what you said? I'm creating. You didn't say I'm making.
That's
the first
making.
Sorry.
No, thank you so much. It's I just cannot agree even more on what you have said. That what you said about the state of the industry and competitiveness and this need or urge for some people to judge and put labels. Whereas it is a journey, it's all that knowledge and soul and passion that you are putting in the music, in the musical instruments. At the end, music is a bridge for musician to connect with the audience, transpose their audience, his or her audience, to to take them on some travel. Even if it is soul, a travel from one spot to another spot, to have them in a different and changed emotional state. Inspire, empower, move them to do something, feel better, be healthier. This is a bridge. So there's a bridge in music and in the act of creating music. If we really try to take distance from that and observe it from far away, not being participants in that, of course, we cannot completely withdraw ourselves from that because we are participants. And instrument for a musician is also a bridge. So an instrument, if it helps musician to achieve what he or she wants to achieve, it's perfect instrument. If that musician connects with the instrument and through that instrument connects with the audience, fantastic. That is it. And there is a lot of mystery and magic in all this beautiful and very complex process, where I cannot repeat frequently enough that violin making is not just about precision to millimeters, it's way deeper.
No, and that's what I'm doing, what I discovered when I saw your violins. That's why it's difficult to play your instrument. If you didn't give the energy to the wood, no one musician can start from zero. Why trumpeter is always saying, the energy that even touching the instrument, you are transmitting the energy. And you can recognize who was player before. So that's why it's so important that you approach to the wood as a creation, not to make the instrument.
Our meeting a few years ago, 5 years ago, so you were the first person to introduce me to the idea of a sound post. I don't know if you have changed it since then, but that's what I've learned from you 5 years ago about the sound posts with minimum tension, and sound posts that have no sound post hole or very tiny one. And I found that so inspiring and so rich as idea. And your explanation why this is important was also really to the point. It made all the sense to me. So after that, when I came back, I went on like a obsessed man, and I changed. I kept changing sound posts in all of the instruments that I have found here. And every time I came to the same conclusion, yes, of course, with tiny sound post hole or no sound post hole, there's always a big difference. That was very interesting to see. And ever since I met you, every time I put a sound post, I recall your name. Every time I create a sound post for my instruments, I recall your name. And of course,
I'm so thankful.
I do not go that deep into sound post and tonal setup. I just don't normally speaking. I don't do this job at all. So I'm mainly creating new instruments. But when it comes to creating my own instruments, yes, then of course I do my best to have them set up the best way I possibly could. And I dream to meet you someday with my instruments and give it to you. Zeljko, what would you change here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I don't think so that I have anything to change because
I will bring my violoncello da spalla. Bring your violin. Let's make some music. Let's make some noise and have a lot of fun. So one last question, Zeljko. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and these beautiful thoughts, really deep thoughts. This conversation will stay in my mind for years. I'm sure about this. Why? Because you changed my state. And I hope that we also change the state of our listeners. So the last question, what is your life's biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson? Listen. Don't just hear it, listen. And feel it. Receive. Give. Share. Love.
This is beautiful. And I suggest we leave our audiences with this jewel of wisdom. Thank you so much, Zeljko, for being a guest on Luthiers and Legacy podcast.
Thank you.
Practical question. I'm almost forgot where people can find you.
Good question. Right now, I don't receive anyone, already 1 year and a half until I don't get vaccine and double. Mm-hmm. And then I will start to think about start to travel and see people. There are so many projects that that I started before pandemic, and I really would love to continue in that direction. So I don't have one station. That's amazing. That's what I love. That's the quantum energy.
Quantum energy. Yeah.
Yes, I love to be everywhere, and whenever someone needs, I think that only when the concert season will start to work fully, and I see in Berlin it's still everything cancelled until June, I think.
Same here in the Netherlands.
Yeah. With Vadim Tibolevsky, I was also talking about, and he said, "My God, we need to wait." So. That's why I to say something, it will be not okay. I think when we restart the new life, we can get in touch by or LinkedIn or email or telephone or wherever.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Of course. Yeah. That's the way. That's the way we will proceed. So for our listeners and our viewers, I am going to put in the description your LinkedIn profile. So when they want to find something, find out about your whereabouts, connect with you, so they will find you on LinkedIn. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Let's do this. Zeliko, once again, a huge thank you for your time, your wisdom, and being our very special guest.
Thank you. I'm really thankful.
Take care.
All the best.
So, dear friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Do let us know what did you like, and do let us know what would you like me to cover in the future episodes on Luthiers and Legacy podcast. And here is one more thing. Write a review on any one of the episodes and post it on social with the tag Dmitry Badiarov so that I can find your review in order to win a free 15-minute consultation call. We will get on the call and discuss your instrument making business and see what you could potentially change to take your instrument making business to yet another level. All you have to do is write a review, post it on social with the tag Dmitry Badiarov in your review. And for today's episode, that is all. I wish you massive success in your career. Let's do it together. Let's change things. Let's shake things up and let's build a legacy at Bench. See you in the next show.